Alrighty, so this will be number 3 of the coaching series or episodes. So we'll jump right into this. Another Jinx game versus Caitlyn Viega and you have Alistar support. So this, from what I can see straight away, is probably going to be a tough lane. Caitlyn's already a really annoying in lane, and it usually doesn't matter what support she has, she's still going to be able to pressure you extremely well. And she has a support that has the possibility to get the 3-second stun, which is a pretty good. Vega's not that great of a support, but it's up there. Better than some of the other supports that you see. All right, so just jump right in. Alistar being a bit special. And oh, directed camera, of course. Oh. Getting right into the action straight away. Caitlyn starts trap level 1. Drops a trap, and you walk straight into it. Do I really need to tell you what you did wrong there? Don't stand on the traps. Alright, so your Alistar's trying to get control of his bush back, but he can't because he's a melee support at level 1, which is quite unfortunate. Viega doesn't have stun, so you can probably just auto-attack him right here. Like, you should have more range than him, Rocket. And once he Qs, that's a 5-second cooldown. So you can just poke him out after the fact. Get stun. Stun. So yeah, pretty much just just watching a Caitlyn lane, really. This is what's just always going to happen here. Once again, same problem as last time, you didn't heal your support again. And then what we have here is not watching your screen when you're backing. So this is just like a simple one. When you're backing, don't sit in the shop, staring at the shop. Think about what you want to buy, but don't have your shop open. Because what happens is, you're just going to get murdered, and perhaps you can make an outplay right now. Maybe you could have flashed up and healed and then lived. Since he's just used his only gap closer on you, you could probably flash, this way, and then try and kite him with heal, because he would have healed up to about there. So yeah, if you had a flash this way and healed to try and save yourself, you might have actually ended up with a kill, since he had just used both his gap closers, flash and W. It should be a pretty easy kite after the fact. So you're just gonna die here, I guess. Yep. Quite unfortunate. Yeah, see, look, he's already nearly dead just from the tower shots, and there's a ginormous wave early game into the turret. Gonna guess you're gonna lose an early turret, or very near to it. The Maokai doesn't stay for the turret, so that's lucky for you, and they didn't stay for the turret either. Yeah, they definitely could have killed that right there. You're quite lucky you didn't lose an early turret. But yeah, with Caitlyn lanes, you got to be very careful, Sorry about that. You just got to be extremely, extremely careful to not stand on the traps and to not let their support get the brush control. If you notice your support is not doing well against holding the brush, you just gotta have to give up CS instead of dying, which is quite unfortunate, but just the way it is. So level 3 on the Alistar, level 2 Jinx. Be about level 3 in a second here. Yep, there you go. How we doing in CS? 11 to 23. Yeah, pretty much what I expected. Just be careful about throwing out your traps like that. Like I said with that Tristana game, throwing out your abilities while not being in the trade probably means they're going to be on cooldown when you actually go for the proper trade. Although you thought that you might have needed it there, even if he did throw the stun at you, Caitlyn wasn't really in a position to punish you for the stun. At most, she was going to land a max range Q. But Ali is right here and can protect you. So at most, this guy's going to drop a bit of damage on you, and Alistar might be able to engage onto him and probably kill him. Because remember, Vigar's really squishy. Like, he only has 679 health compared to, your AD carry of 712. and you're a level down as well. So, yeah, you shouldn't really be too scared of just the Veigar. Yep, there you go. Alistar engages, you take the stun. Caitlyn tries to move up and punish. But it looks like it's probably going to be a trade 1-for-1. Reading for the kill. Yeah, you should have just, yeah, jumped on the Caitlyn straight away, because that guy just blew all his sums. Oh, the unfortunate Maokai gank. Now you have no sums up, and you're going to die to this. Yep. That's unfortunate. Probably could have stayed and fought the Caitlyn and Jinx. The Caitlyn and the, Oh, Caitlyn did die. What? What happened there? Flashed into minions and died. Alright. Right here. Alright, so lucky you got some extra gold for free because your Lena was being a intelligent person. She bought a Zeal to your crit gloves and dagger. You're not that far behind. Trade kills, you're down on quite a bit on CS and tower damage. So it's looking pretty bleak right now, 1-7. But you do have a bit of scaling on your team comp. Ziggs is really good mid to late game. Renekton's pretty good in the mid game, but starts to fall off late, so that's unfortunate. But he's not doing too well anyways, so it's not a big factor. Shyvana is extremely well if she can farm for a long time, especially against 3-4 mobile champions, pretty much. Yeah. So you got 3 squishies in the bot side of the map, and then the Urgot top lane, who's pretty tanky, but he's 4-0 as well. Anyway, back to your lane. So you're getting zoned from the Veigar again. He's playing it smart now. He's actually doing a fair bit of damage now. I'm guessing he picked up some sort of AP component. Yeah, Amp Tome. Really good stun by Ali under the tower. And here comes the gank. Shyvana misses ulti. Caitlyn still has flash. They don't have sums left. And probably just going to be a cleanup kill here as well. Yep. And then Maokai jumps into just to die, by the looks of it. Yep. Alrighty, so pretty much now you have a free lane to farm it up. You might even get this tower, by the looks of it. Yeah, you'll probably get this tower. Yep, there's a reinforcing wave. There's no one going to make it in time. So yeah, that was a really good play by your jungler there. And good follow-up as well. That's another thing right there. Just make sure when you're, walking past bushes, to actually go through the bush and watch your screen. I know it's not, that big of a thing, but, that's the reason why wards like this in low elo last so long. It's because people aren't watching their screen when they go through this. They're looking, say they're the jungler, they're standing right here where this Maokai is. They're looking mid, they're clicking mid, They're sitting there clicking mid. They're not watching their screen. They're just, they're not watching the character, they're watching, mid lane, yelling at the mid lane, I want a gank, I want a gank, I want a gank. And they're not seeing the ward that they just walked past, so there's 2 wards there that could have seen him. Alright, so back into your lane again. Yeah, so the thing was just make sure you're watching your screen, when you're walking around through the jungle so you can catch any wards that might be there. So using your rocket to clear the wave. Trying to use your traps there to zone Caitlyn off the wave so you can't get any damage on the turret. That was pretty smart, but I don't think that's really going to help the turret. So you should play really, really careful here, since you're down a level, and it's the level 6 power spike, which is extremely powerful, especially for Caitlyn and Veigar. So you just want to sit back and don't throw your W's out on the Veigar that's standing still. Use your W to farm. If you're already down CS, you shouldn't be giving CS up just to, put down 100 damage on Veigar, when you can use that to grab the odd CS or not, so you don't get punished as hard. So Alistar engages because the jungle is here. You get one shot by the Veigar ulti. Pretty much just going to happen all game. You're less than half health. They still have sums up, so they make it out. They might die. Oh, that's right, there's no turret here, so they can chase it down just fine. Alistar cleans up the Caitlyn kill. Shyvana cleans up the Veigar kill. Excellent play by your jungler once again. So this seems to be a reoccurring thing, this game. just getting saved by your jungler. So moving on to a bit of the macro play. Now that we're sort of going into the mid game, it's a bit early for mid game, but it's an 18 kill game in 11 minutes, so the mid game comes earlier than normal. With you breaking open your turret right here, and then you losing your turret top lane, what you want to try and do is move top. But he's 5-0, so that you want to try and get your Renekton out of that lane as quick as possible, because he's suffering for being up there. He probably doesn't know how to play the matchup, or whatever the reason that he lost. So you want to try and swap into that lane and make sure you bring your support, and ping for your jungler to come to just 3-man the tower, 3-man the top laner. That's a good 1500 gold sitting on the top side of the map right now with the shutdown and the tower. So Urgot's coming in for the TP. Shyvana gets a really good kill on the support again, and is trapped behind 3 enemy players. Right now you should be roaming up to try and help your Shyvana. She's spam pinging on the map, help, help, help. Well, Ziggs is trying to get your attention, and you're still sitting down here farming. Alistar jumps on the level 10. Urgot probably spam and understandably going to lose a lot of health, and it looks like Shyvana's going to die because he couldn't get up there to save her. So pretty much just another macro thing, Make sure every other second you're looking at the minimap. 50% of your time should be looking at the minimap, if not more. You probably could have looked for a position to, run up river and try and help your Shyvana. Maybe it didn't work out because you're still outnumbered, but, your Shyvana was 6-1, You want to try and help her. She's really strong. Alright, so trying to defend this tower against a really fed Urgot and a Caitlyn with static shiv is probably not going to go well. Especially with the jungler coming in. But you have a Ziggs to help try and wave clear. Depends how he's going with his Q-Max. He's getting there. But yeah, it's not enough. So you're just going to make sure you're giving up the towers where appropriate. If you're the only one there, or if you and someone else are the only ones there, cede the tower. You're not going to do anything to defend it. It's just a small thing to know. Because you're never ever going to save that turret. Ever. I can tell you 100% that one player or 2 players is not going to stop 3 or more people from sieging down the turret and getting the turret. And the only thing you're doing is giving them more gold. Instead of just getting the tower gold, now they're getting a kill of gold as well. And especially if you have a shutdown gold as well, you should be really careful of that. So yeah, that's just a thing to look out for. If you know multiple people are roaming down to come for your turret, which you should do if you're looking at your minimap and oh, their top laner TP'd down. Oh, their mid laner roamed down. I can see them on my river ward, so I can see them about to come into my lane. Maybe I should back away, because you got to remember, if you're sitting here behind your turret, they have the flank advantage from the bush, and they can cut you off, while you can't go past this way. So like, if you're here with your support, you gotta remember they have the flank advantage from here and then here. You have nowhere to go if you trap yourself in this turret. So as soon as you see or think that the enemy team is grouping up on you, you need to get past this point here and this point here. So this first slide is their primary engage point, where it's going to be the safest for them to engage from front to back, and then here's when they can try and pull off an engage, but you can probably fight them off because the guys down this end won't be able to reach them in time. Alright, so moving on. Probably shouldn't be farming in minigun right here, especially with the Caitlyn coming up on you and no one coming to assist you for the Caitlyn kill down here. So you should just be rocket farming the wave and then moving away from the Caitlyn. So yeah, like drop rockets on the wave, then run away. Really good slow there. Just be careful not to get yourself killed. Shyvana misses ulti again. Oh, he gets flashed away from. Ziggs is here to help clean it up. Misses ulti, and she's going to get out at 1 HP. Which is quite unfortunate. Alistar might go for the kill here, which would be unfortunate. He might get it. But I'm pretty sure Veigar has stun up. Yeah, he does. Yep, and nothing comes from that. So yeah, pretty much just the being careful. Is right now you're a half health 80 carry. You can't really do anything in this position. Your minion waves up here. The ADC just went. Their ADC is missing. Their support is missing. Their jungler is missing. Either you need to push this wave and run like hell, or you need to go back to base to reset, because as soon as you show up on the mini-map, you're going to get multiple people coming towards you because you're low health. And there we go, a Kaelin comes from behind, and you're probably going to die here. You might actually be able to win the fight if you tried. But it looks like you're going to get out, which is pretty good. And then starting to attack the dragon for some reason. So all you had to do was walk this way and you were out. But you started to hit the dragon and oh, there's a support Viger there to one-shot you. Not a great choice. Even if you were trying to help your teammates, you know, he's always going to one-shot you when you're that low. So you're just got to be careful. And watching the minimap, like I said. So it looks like your support and jungle and top are going to try and make a play on the AD carry in the mid. Top lane coming in. That top lane's going to do a lot of damage. He's 5-0 right now. That's a Black Cleaver. And there's the ulti to finish off Shyvana. And Renekton's trying to clean up the kill on to the mid laner, but he can't because he's very far behind. And that was just a poor play by your teammates. After you're attacking the dragon and dying. Alright, so right now, so you're running into the wave, using minigun again, you know, you're not trying to, you know, get every single CS by, you know, auto attack. You need just AoE wave clear, shove out the wave to the halfway point, and then run somewhere else. You don't have time to be sitting around minigunning the wave, you know? So get it to the halfway point and leave. When you get it to halfway point, it'll bounce off the tower, and the next time you come there in the next minute, minute or so, you'll get a huge wave to collect. So right here is quite unfortunate. You didn't quite push it far enough, so it'll take longer, which is really good to be mindful of that, because you saw the Urgot blue plant you walked away. So yeah, you just gotta be careful to make sure it goes over the halfway point, or otherwise it'll build up a wave for them instead, and then just give the enemy team a bunch of free gold. So it didn't crash into the turret, and didn't give you a bunch of turret damage, and didn't give you denying of XP and CS. It just set it up for him. So you're just gonna make sure it's pushing all the way past the halfway point. So support and ADC going for the dragon. No one pings it, so even if your team's not paying attention, you gotta ping it out for your team, you know? Looking at your minimap for every second. You know, you had a ward down there, you would have seen the dragon dying. And then watching the dragon die, you should be walking away. You know there's at least 2 people there. The only person that can solo it on the team looking at their team comp is Maokai. And even if Maokai's there, the support and ADC are probably still there. So all you're doing is just sitting around, you know, you're trying to get to this wave, but you're like, okay, everyone's missing on the map. How do I get up to this wave? And then Renekton's being very not intelligent and, you know, getting into a bad position while you're trying to get into a bad position as well. So it's past the halfway point, you need to move to a different lane. That's just pretty much the macro play again. Push it to the halfway point, make sure it's perfectly past the halfway point, and leave. So once you push out bot there, you should have just ran mid, because remember, not going top by yourself ever as an ADC, because even if it is an ADC in the top lane, he's 6-0 with a Thornmail and a Black Cleaver. He's going to murder a 1-in-4 Jinx with a BF Sword and a Zeal. So either you need to sit at the inhib tower top and catch the wave, and hopefully he'll walk away and then you can push, or then you need to go mid with your team and help push out mid. Alright, so your top and jungler are going to go for the play on the Urgot. Might end badly. He's pretty strong, but I'm pretty sure they'll have this cleaned up. That's a lot of damage. That's gonna be bad. That's a lot of CCs chained up right there. Might be able to clean up the Urgot. Yeah, he did, and 2 people die for it, and that'll be a 3rd and 4th. Yep. 3 people down. Alistar's about to go down. Quite unfortunate by your team there. Enemy team's pinging on the Baron. Pretty much always, as a rule of thumb, you should just go for the Baron steal. You know, even if you're the AD carry, as long as it's not like super late game and you dying is just going to be the end of the game, you might as well try and steal the Baron. Like, you know, you could throw your Jinx rocket at it. There's a slim chance that, you know, you're going to come back because you have a Baron. So yeah, it's always worth a try. Even if it's just throwing out your Jinx ult onto the Baron, or better yet, running up there and trying to land a W on it to steal. It's always better to try and steal because it's going to tilt the enemy team off the planet, one, and then the Baron is a lot of gold and a lot of stats for your team, so that can help stall out a game and try and get you back in the game. So yeah, always try, you know. So you have Jinx rocket up, that would have been a perfect opportunity with the execute damage to try and steal. There's no one at this level of play is going to hit the smite, you know. So you might as well just try. I mean, if you time it right, you get a free Baron. And you're probably going to snowball that into a free win. Alright, so same thing's happening again. Your top and jungle trying to make a play on the really fed Urgot. And he's really a beefy, so the enemy team's going to capitalize on the 3 people bot and try and shove through mid. So obviously you have a Ziggs mid, so that's going to be really, really good for you guys to let them shove into the Ziggs mid. I'll just watch that play in a second. First of all, I just want to point out, not the right play again. Tier 1 tower is not worth the inhib, even if you're this far behind. You did this in that other Tristana game, the first one I looked, you know, the enemy team was pushing an inhib, and where were you? Off somewhere killing a tier 1 tower. Well, yes, the gold is going to be extremely helpful. You need to be there to defend the tower. You're the AD carry. 9 times out of 10, you're the team's wave clear. This game, you have a Ziggs, and he has a better wave clear than you, which is true, but you have a lot of area control as Jinx with your rockets and zaps. Not your rockets, sorry, your trap wall and your zaps. So it's like a mini Caitlyn trap wall, so you can help zone people off the tower, as well as your extreme long range with Pow Pow. So, although getting this tower gold is really going to help your team, and it is alright, losing an inhib for it, once again, was not worth. So your team's going to try and make a play because they dived and took a lot of damage. Renekton gets the shutdown on Shyvana. Syndra and dies, which is pretty good considering he's really far behind. Might as well go for the shutdown gold. And then you get to keep pushing. So you're very lucky the enemy team tried to dive the turret instead of just sieging down, which might have been the better play there if it was just Ziggs alone, but the whole enemy team, your whole team collapsed on them, so they just all died, or all would have died if that Renekton got a better engage off. And now, so I'm gonna say that this is a really bad spot and probably gonna end in sadness. Yeah. Alright, so just don't push this far up. So remember the golden rule, push past the halfway point, move somewhere else. Alright, so your Alistar's gonna get caught out from engaging multiple people, both teleports get dropped down, Alistar dies, and the team's on the retreat. Once again, no AD carry to be seen because you're still pushing top and you only just backed. So yeah, that was, you know, not the worst play in the world, but definitely not the best. Because Ziggs is out of mana right now, he needs help to clear this minion wave, and the turret goes down because of it. So yeah, you traded a T1 tower for an inhib, and you can't, you know, be like, that was my team's fault, they engaged a fight and died. No. If you were there, you could have wave cleared that, even if your team died. You know, it would have been a lot harder, but, you know, you still had the area control of Jinx traps. You still had the area control of Jinx zap. I mean, you know, you could have zoned them off the turret for a bit longer. Because even on that first dive on the turret against Ziggs, they nearly killed the tower. And if they did, that would have been even worse, because you still hadn't got the T1 tower before. Anyway, so moving on, just macro play, macro play, macro play. Pretty much first 20 minutes, you need to be watching the map to see what's going on. You know, where's the enemy team? Where's my team? Where do I need to be? Am I important to the team fight? Yes or no? And if you're an AD carry, the answer is always yes, regardless of your score. You need to be with the team. Alright, so it looks like Ziggs cleaned up a solo kill on Syndra. Renekton got a good engage with Syndra, with Shyvana onto the Caitlyn, cleaned her up. And then probably going to get a nice Cloud Drake. You got to watch out for the mid supers though. They're going to be pushing in a few moments here. And it looks like Ziggs going to clean that up. So that's a good dragon control right there. Some stats to help, especially if you get the Elder. And it looks like you didn't lose anyone for that. So that was a really good trade by your team and you. Once again, careful your macro play. You know, you're nearly getting caught out every single time you go to these side lanes. So you push one wave too many. You should be very careful. Pushing that extra wave can kill you a lot of times. So being ADC, you really need to buy blue trinket as well. Another tip that I forgot to mention in the second one, but I mentioned in the first one. Blue trinket every game. The second you hit level 9, blue trinket. Just because you need the ranged finding of enemies. Because anywhere past 15 minutes, an AD carry walking up to yellow trinket or bush is going to die, even if you ward it from max range. Every single time you're gonna die. Unless you have both sums up, and then in which case you're gonna lose both sums. Alright, moving on. So yeah, just macro play. Not using a minigun to shove the wave, remember? So yeah, look how long it's taking to kill this wave. 35 seconds. You could have pushed 2 waves for that. And that was just to try and shove the wave there. So yeah, use your AoE wave clear to shove the wave. In mid-game, it's not about getting the CS. While that is important, it's all about the shove. Whoever shoves fastest usually wins mid-game. Whoever has the most wave clear usually wins mid-game. So what you want to try and do is shove out a wave to past the halfway point, and then go somewhere else. You want to roam around with your team, get objectives, push out another wave. Doesn't matter as long as you're not in that same wave doing nothing. What are you doing? This is his lane. He has the TP. He's the one that should be split pushing, not you. You should be down in this team fight down here. So now your team's gonna be stuck in a 3v4, while you two are stuffing around, spam pinging each other to go back, go back, go back. This is your fault, not his. You need to push it past the halfway point and go back with your team, or help clear the supers, or something else. He's the one with the TP, he's the only one allowed past the halfway point. Alright, so Runan's Hurricane picked up with the IE, and looking into a lifesteal item. Alright, moving on. Should be using your rockets here, yep. Now that you have Runan's Hurricane, your rockets are even more effective. So yeah, just pretty much the macro play once again. Careful about standing on Kaelin traps just to clear them, especially this late in the game. Because you never know when there's going to be someone waiting for you to do something like that. Once again, pushing out the wave with miniguns is a bad idea, even with Runan's Hurricane. So you pass the halfway point, and look at that, enemy pings are immediately dropping onto you, and they're going to either run at you and get a free kill, or run at Baron and get a free Baron, because they don't have an AD carry for the team fight. So yeah, like I said, push it to the halfway point, go somewhere else. So your team's getting zoned off the Baron now, and the enemy team can grab a free Baron. All you achieved was a 2nd tier tower. So your team's going to engage the fight. They might be strong enough to clean it up. And it looks like the 10 and 5 Shyvana's just going to roll through the enemy team while you stuff around bot, killing an inhib. You could have been there to help secure the fight. So like, now Shyvana's stuck in the 1v3. And she can't really achieve much else. Meanwhile, what's going on bot? Oh, you're getting TP'd on. So, you got an inhib. Okay, cool. I mean, it was a good play because of the fact the enemy team wasn't paying attention. The enemy team should have just backed off the Baron and then killed you, then gone back to the Baron and just won a free 4v5 fight. But the fact of the matter was, that was just not the right play. You should be shoving out to the halfway point and then going to your team. Even though it was really good getting a bot in here, that pretty much gets free Barons and whatnot. You got to be really careful about that. You got extremely lucky. You picked the poor play and it worked out because the enemy team wasn't paying attention. That was it. It wasn't a good play. So using minigun to push out waves once again, not the smart thing to do, too slow. Probably going to be grouping up for Baron in the next few minutes here, so you push it to the halfway point, you need to run away. You don't have vision enough to be this far up, and you have to throw your traps to get yourself away. So you need a blue trinket here just to help you, you know, spot out these ganks coming for you. So Shyvana and Renekton going for the engage. That was a really good crit rocket. Might be able to clean up 3. Good dodge on the stun. Maokai ult. Make sure you get behind a tank for the Maokai ult or run out to the side. And instead all you did was just get rooted with your Alistar. So what you wanted to do is try and stand behind someone because it only roots the first person. So the 5 projectiles will only hit 1 person each. So a maximum of 5 roots can happen. So what you do is you just stand behind your tank and they take that little route for you, and then it opens up a path between them and you can just freely walk through the ulti, instead of both taking a route to the face. Alright, cleaning up the turret, barely getting away from the Syndra Ball, good. And then Ziggs cleans it up with a long range snipe. And then you just grab the free Baron, which is really good plays, really good calls. Unfortunate that your jungler died. Alistar probably should have tanked that one for him. Alright, so we're going to jump into directed camera for the rest of the game, since we're starting to get into ultra late game, and I can't really pan the camera to keep up. So pretty much just watching. I want to try and watch a team fight to get, so I can try and talk about team fight positioning, but there really hasn't been any team fights you're in, because you're positioning really poorly in the macro. So, you know, you're running top, and just dying, for no reason. You're not the top laner. That's the top laner's job. Don't go to a side lane. All you have to do is push it to the halfway point and go somewhere else. And that's just, and also with that, make sure you're, you know, watching the map. You know, if your team is already in the fight, don't keep pushing. You need to go help them. And not keep pushing. So only push when you know you can do it without your team going in for a fight straight away. So, yeah, so just walking top lane and dying for no reason. Now your team has to just stand around and do nothing because they don't have an AD carry. Luckily the enemy team isn't in a position to capitalize because of your Baron and the Ziggs mid lane shove. So that's extremely lucky for you guys. Sieging up the top lane now with your team, you're sitting mid. Once again, we're looking at the macro play again. I see a team fight starting here. I see a Veigar flanking for some reason. Okay, maybe it'll work with the 3-second stun, maybe you'll just get obliterated. But, oh, what's this? You're sitting in a different lane again. You're never ever with the team in the team fights. This is a team game, you're the AD carry. You're one of the most important players in the game for damage wise and DPS. And look, Caitlyn was mid. She's roaming over straight away. We look down mid. There's Jinx again, doing nothing. You can argue, hey, I'm getting inhibs, and you're probably going to get an inhib here because your team's going pretty even in the fight. This shouldn't be such an even fight with such an extremely fed Shyvana. You should have an AD carry here to help clean up the fight. But, where do we look? Mid. And now bot. The furthest away from the team fight. So, yeah. And just poor positioning, and then Shyvana carrying the fights, pretty much 4v5. All you did was just make the game harder for your teammates. Yeah, you got inhibs, but you would have been better off in the fights doing stuff than not. And that's just going to be the W right there. Alright, so that's everything for this game. Just pretty much macro play. And then the rule of thumb of pushing it past the halfway point and then going somewhere else is pretty much the only big things that I can see this time. Because you weren't following that rule of push to the halfway point and go somewhere else. Your team was constantly fighting 4v5 fights, which, yeah, you can push some blame off to them. Why are they engaging 4v5? But when the reality of the matter is, you were never in a position to be in any of the team fights. So it comes down to you positioning yourself on the map in the wrong spot. You're not a split pushing tank. You're not a split pushing tank with TP. You're not wave clearing as fast as you can. You know, you're sitting there minigun auto attacking the wave. if you're going to make the silly play of being up there split pushing, at least push the wave as fast as humanly possible. Because mid game is all about the push. Who shoves as fast as possible wins the mid game. It's not about the fights. It's not about the team comp. It's about who shoves the fastest, who clears waves the fastest. Because if you don't have a team that has any, if you have a team with no wave clear, that's when you lose those early inhibs. Because they get a few picks and then now that you're down the person, you don't have the wave clear. Free inhib early game, mid game, sorry. So yeah, just positioning yourself across the map was poor. The enemy team didn't punish you for it, so it's one of the reasons why low elo players don't improve is because they don't see what's going wrong, and then they don't recognize this mistake and don't recognize that they did something wrong. So yeah, just looking at your positioning, you got 2 inhibs. Yeah, that's great. No, in a like a real game, so to speak, like a game with players that are knowing what they're doing, more so than this, you would have died 10, 11 times, just from being out of position in the wrong spot. Also, you're farming. 200 farm in 36 minutes when you didn't go into a single team fight was abysmal. You need to be wave clearing better than that, and farming better than that. You should be sitting at about 300 to 350. Spending that much time in a side lane. So yeah, just macro play, push to the halfway point, go somewhere else. That's just the easiest way to do it. And obviously not pushing when your team's trying to force an objective like Baron or Dragon, because you need to be there straight away. Yeah, that's everything. And that's that one done.